Good morning again. It's so fun to see everybody. I miss seeing everybody in person, but I am so pleased that everyone could join us this morning for the workshop. And I'm going to start by first saying, congratulations, big round of applause. Everybody go, yay. We're really excited. Thank you so much. We appreciate all you do. It's just so great to have so many people doing such wonderful things in our community, and our committees appreciated getting to know you, your organizations. We had several new people in this last cycle, so this was a great opportunity for them to get to know you and your work, and we look forward to hearing all the great updates as the year progresses. So thank you all for all that you do. For those that are just joining, I do want to take the opportunity to once again introduce Mary Dutton, who we're just thrilled joined us this past summer and has just jumped right in and gotten to know a lot of you and has been a wonderful addition to our team. And I know she has several things going on this morning, but I appreciate that Cynthia Clegg also joined us this morning. And I'm going to put her a little bit on the spot just in case if she wanted to say anything. I'll give her a big shout out, but I know that she is.
I just want to say congratulations, and we love to brag about you. So when you listen to their talking about what the PR value, we want to know the little ins and outs of what you're doing in the community. So when we're on the phone with somebody, we can go, do you know what Tri-Town is doing? Do you know what Rickett Community Music School is doing? Or Carrie, what you're doing? So please, the more information you send us, the better we are at bragging about the great work that you do. And if I didn't say your name, it's just because we're running out of time. Thank you for what you do.
Wonderful. Thank you. Truly, you all are doing wonderful things and we really appreciate it. All right, let's jump right in, and I am going to, we will make available afterwards. We are recording this because sometimes you've been tapped by your organization to be at the work session, but somebody else also might be doing an evaluation or some marketing or PR shout outs with you. So we will make the recording available to everyone so that you have it, as well as the PowerPoint slides afterwards. So let's me just get up and running here. Okay. All right. So again, congratulations. We're just thrilled to have everyone doing such wonderful things, and we're so excited to be part of it. Really quickly, let's just start with let me get on the right screen so I can scroll forward. All right, my usual housekeeping, right? So once again, please do me a favor and check your databases. We still see sometimes a few things coming through for the Middlesex County Community Foundation or the Middlesex Community Foundation, particularly in announcements or shout outs. So if you just do us a favor and make sure that we are listed correctly in your databases and any shout outs or PR marketing that you do, and refer to us obviously as the Community Foundation of Middlesex County. And once the full name is given, you can then speak to the Community Foundation as Community Foundation or CFMC. So just do us a favor and check on all of those things for us, please. The marketing, the Grantee Communications Kit is available on our website and as a PDF, and it's very simple to find. When you're on the homepage, just hover over nonprofits, go down to the page under resources for marketing your grant, and the CFMC Grantee Communications Kit is there. We also have, we'll continue with our 25 Impact series this year, highlighting all the great things that that our support has helped to do over the years, and your statements, your stories, your quotes are all there. So we do that second circle that I have down here. Circle is a link to a form that's just very easy to submit on our website to give us a quick quote or photo or story that you may want us to quickly share. You're obviously always welcome to email Mary or email me. That's another way to get it to us. On this page, at the very bottom, if you scroll down, is our logo, if you need to download that for use in anything. And sometimes some of you may have grants that come through our partnership with GSB. We're just thrilled to continue that partnership through our competitive process with them, and we appreciate their support and trust in our process. They've created a special logo for those grants that give them a shout out. We do appreciate if Guilford Savings Bank, now known as GSB, is one of the funders on your grant, that you do include them, and that they created a special logo for us to use, which is a dual logo to help show that they are continuing their community investment and their community good works. We really do appreciate their partnership. All right, and of course okay, so when to use the name. Once again, if anything that you're doing, please use the full name at least once in the outset, at the top of any announcement. It does help make the connection. Beyond that, you can always shorten it to Community Foundation or CFMC. Your letters explain that you can always say that the grant funding is provided by or funded in part by the Community Foundation. Your agreement letters will also include those funds that participate in our competitive process and make your grants possible. We always appreciate a shout out to those wonderful donors, groups, and businesses that have joined with the Community Foundation by establishing funds to use in this process. So we always appreciate recognition of their good works and their commitment to the process. And we also forward those. So whenever we see those, whether it's in social media or in an article or press release or thank you card or anything else, we do share those out because we recognize that they're very committed to our community and they believe in the process and have worked with us to make grants possible to our nonprofits. And of course, when to use the logo. Whenever possible, we do appreciate the full logo being used, which is the one in the center of this slide. It includes our tagline. We know that sometimes the tagline might disappear as it gets smaller and smaller and smaller, especially on websites or social media or other things. So we do have alternative versions available. One, which is the most of the logo, which includes our full name, but without the tagline. That's really useful in places where the tagline just is illegible at the size you need to do it. You can use just the circle acronym, but only in places where you have also referred either in writing or in another way the full name of the Community Foundation of Middlesex County. Our acronym is becoming more and more known, but for those that are not familiar with the Community Foundation, sometimes the acronym by itself doesn't register, doesn't make a connection. But if you have questions on how to use the logos or where to use them, please, by all means, reach out to Mary or reach out to me. We're happy to help you determine what's the best. And if you need another type of format on our website, it's in a JPEG, but if you need a PNG or a PDF, we can get that to you as well. As I mentioned, certain grants may have a special logo use. We do have a special logo for various funds at the Community Foundation. If you're doing a big shout out specifically to one of our funds that have made a grant possible, some of those are examples here. We have others. We can always get those to you. And as I mentioned, some of you may have received grant funding through a partnership that we have with GSB to manage their charitable impact here in Middlesex County, and they have been wonderful and created the dual logo at the bottom that we do have available. So if you need that, please let us know. We can make sure you get that. So ways that we utilize some of the thank yous that we have. I'm going to highlight this wonderful thank you card we received from Bealfield Elementary for a recent grant for a garden, pollinator garden project that they have going on there. We use them in stories, articles, photos, but your stories and articles are the best way that we see thank yous. We capture those, we get them to the donors, we get them to the committees, we utilize them in our social media, on our website, and in our community reports. We love thank you cards and letters. We make sure those get back out to everyone that you're thanking. We appreciate all of those shout outs that you do. Truly, it's a great way to help spread the information about what you're doing and the grant support that comes through the Community Foundation. We also love videos. They don't have to be long. We'll touch on videos a little bit more in just a bit, but they could be a sneak peek or a program clip or just a simple thank you. We can load those on our website. We also share those out through our e-news and in a variety of ways with our committees, board, and our donors. We are hoping to get site visits on the calendar for this year. We are still very cognizant that between the pandemic, COVID, some other respiratory issues like RSV, some pneumonia issues, that we're all being very cautious. We're being very careful to make sure that you and your participants are safe, as well as those members of our committee and committees and board that may visit are safe. We also could put together a virtual site visit. Sometimes those are helpful, particularly for programs that may be serving very at-risk populations that don't necessarily want an in-person visit. We're very cognizant that sometimes just a quick catch up, and this is what we do, makes a great virtual site visit. We're happy to help coordinate those. And then of course, we'll get into it later, the evaluation narrative is a great way for you to help tell the story, and then we share those out, we turn it into stories, we forward those on to groups that are very interested in your work.
Real quick, Thayer, my access to the waiting room is not working at the moment, so I wanted to have you double check that quickly. Sorry to interrupt.
No, that's all right. I can definitely do that. So let's see what's going on here. Give us just a moment. Okay. Let's see. Here we go. Okay. Thank you for letting me know, Mary. Okay, this is a piece that we put together based on a quote that came through an evaluation for our recent community report. And it's a good example of one of the ways big stories, articles are so helpful, but sometimes in email updates or social media, we're either grabbing your social media posts after we share them out, and Mary's going to talk a little bit about that in just a few minutes. But we're also putting together these just quick quotes about the good works that are going on. So a fun photo includes just a snippet. We put those together, and we're going to use those in more ways to help get the word out and show everyone all the great things that you are doing. Sorry, I sort of we also use snippets like this often at our board meetings. We try to have something up at the very welcome level of our board meeting as people are coming in to show off what you're doing. We also use them on the website. We're going to be doing some website upgrades this year, and so we're going to be incorporating some new photos and some new stories as we put some updates together for our website. As I mentioned, we do love videos. We thank everyone who's put together thank you videos for the Community Foundation. Those are always a lot of fun, and we love sharing those out with the groups and the donors that are helping to make your grants possible. We load them to our YouTube channel. We can also use a link from yours if you have a YouTube or Vimeo, sorry, or other platform channel. These were just a couple of examples that came through in the past. The one from Futures, they were wonderful. They made the video, sent us through a share cloud, the actual video file. We downloaded it and put it on our channel and got that to share out. And then the other one was done by an organization. They loaded it to their video and made sure that we had the link so we could get that posted. So you can create or adapt one. You don't necessarily have to make one just for us, though we love those as well. And they don't have to be long. We've had several that were just sort of quick 30-second, woo, look what you've helped make possible. They can show an impact. They can highlight a program. Anything goes. They're just a lot of fun. And we know that people love videos these days, right? And they're using them in lots of ways. So we're trying to incorporate your videos more and more to highlight all the great things that you're doing and those things that the community foundations support makes possible. How to get those to us. So there are a couple of different ways. If you create a little video short that's specifically for us, you can use a share cloud platform like Dropbox or Google Share and send that video file via the cloud share. We'll download it, get it loaded to our YouTube channel. We'll get you a link to that as well if you need it. Some organizations don't have one. We totally appreciate that. And sometimes we're always happy to share that back out if you want to use it. Or if you have your own video channel, please send us the share link and we can utilize that. I do want to highlight a few things on videos, though, that we have seen in the last year as we get some. So when you're, and this goes for photos and stories as well. So here are a few things to keep in mind, right? When you send us photos, which we love, photos are wonderful. We love to show off your photos. Our expectation and our marketing guidelines clearly state that any photos you send us of participants and clients, that you have a signed release on file stating that that person or that group knows that the photo is going to be used in public-facing media and has given their permission for that to be used. If they are stock photos, we do ask that you only include announcements or highlights with us to use where you have actually purchased the license to use that stock photo and not just clipped it from somewhere. We're very cognizant of licensing and copyright rules. Same thing when you're sharing stories, articles, or quotes. If a name appears, we are going under the presumption and the guarantee underneath our guidelines that you have gotten permission for that from that person for their name to be used publicly in any type of story, article, or public-facing media. You can shorten it or change the name. We've done that when we don't want to make someone uncomfortable. And we've gotten a lot of stories where the names have been changed. We completely appreciate that, or it's first name only. When it comes to sharing videos, music can be copyrighted. I will tell you, if you have tried to upload a video onto YouTube that uses a popular song, a current popular release by an artist, and you don't have copyright permission to use that song, if you have tried to do that, you will notice that YouTube will not allow you to post that video. We received last year a wonderful video. I mean, truly, it was wonderful. Thank you for a donor. And it was done through a cloud site where we needed to download it. And it was done for a donor that is much older and is not really comfortable with technology. And the easiest way for us to try to share that was through our YouTube site. But I couldn't upload that video to share it with a broader platform because they were using pop songs and there were copyright issues that were popping up on that. So please, if you're using that, just be careful that in this day and age, you don't want to get in a jam with any music that you're using. There are a lot of sites out there that offer either free licensing music or like stock photos for a minimal expense, you get licensing to use it in your videos. So please be cautious with that. And if we do get one that does register copyright issues, thank you for sharing it, but just understand we will not be able to share that out. I'm going to pause really quickly and just, so I know we have some questions coming through the chat. I want you to know that we see those and we'll keep an eye on those and circle back at those at the end. So if you do have questions that you want to go ahead and just get on the in our list right now, always feel free to put those in and we'll come back and circle back on those. All right. All right, I am going to let Mary take over and talk about some social media stuff that we have going on right now.
Sounds great. Yeah, so as Thayer mentioned, there's a variety of ways that we can share your stories, of course, including our social media channels, our newsletter, our website, letters and updates to donors to keep them posted on the impact of their grants and your great work, our annual report, and opportunities as well with events magazines and local papers. So starting with this slide, here are our social media handles for Facebook and Instagram, if you don't follow us already. Also, if we don't follow you, definitely please let us know. We try to stay up to date on our social media channels, but we do want to make sure we're, of course, following all of our grantees and local organizations to stay up to date there. So in terms of social media, if you are sharing a program or an announcement, please do feel to tag us, which helps us immensely to be able to share your updates more quickly, or send us an email. You can definitely, whether it's before to let us know that you'll be sharing a post or sharing the link via email. Either works great for us. We do try to keep an eye out across channels, but it does help us share your news much more quickly around the grants and programs and their impact. And then for Instagram, sharing, oh, that's okay. Yeah, sharing is a bit different, but we're happy to screen grab your posts and share it out that way on Instagram as well as our other channels. And actually the next slide will show a few examples of this. So whether it's an update on receiving the grant check, a program update, or program impact, or even a stock photo mentioning the grant. We do love all updates we can get. So here's just a few examples on this slide. And then not only can we use them as social, but I know Thayer mentioned this, we can also send the donor an update, and it's just a really great way to keep them engaged and updated on the impact that they're helping to make through all of your great work. And then the next slide also features some more examples of this. The events quarterly magazines, this is a more longer form story, but so if you ever have stories that you'd like to share a larger glimpse at what's going on, this is a great way for us to turn it into an article for either an events magazine or our annual report. And actually on the bottom right is a quote pulled from our annual report. And even just having a quote and the image can just really paint a great picture and share what's going on. And quick impact stories too. And of course, photos are wonderful. So really we take it all and love any updates that we can get. And in terms of sharing these updates, as we mentioned, email is great. The grantee evaluation after the program is another great way to share it. And then also the 25 years of impact form that Thayer mentioned as well. And those can be quick glimpses, even if it's a really fast submission form, and you can submit it as many times as you'd like if a new story comes about, but we really appreciate those updates. And as the new programs and communications coordinator, it really marries both of what I do between programs and communication. So definitely feel free to reach out to me with any questions too, and happy to stay up to date and quickly get your stories shared as you tag us.
And to that thing, and what Mary said, and she's been doing a great job of trying to pull everything together and wrangle all the different ways that we reshare your stories and your articles, as well as monitoring for the tags and those that have already done some. Thank you so much. We have been capturing those and sharing those out. We're also have received recently some great articles and news releases about recent grants. So we're doing a lot of work to get those posted up on the CFMC news site, which also helps share out your information, particularly when people who are just getting to know us are coming in and doing some exploring on our website to see what we do and how we help nonprofits and what nonprofits may be in their region. So we're looking at ways in this next iteration and update to highlight those announcements and help get those out on your behalf as well, more and more as you're working to share your good news and your good works. As Mary mentioned, we also find ways to utilize larger stories, whether it's through our community report, which I'm sure many of you have seen, or highlights. These are just several examples of things that we've done recently. We had we put together collages and highlights of funds that may be doing a lot of different grants and get those not only to the donors, but we use those in our own announcements. And we also pull down the stories that either come through your narratives, your evaluation narratives, or those special stories you send directly to us. And we build those out in our community report and then share them across a variety of platforms as we continue to tell the story of all the incredible nonprofits working in our footprint. I want to stress over and over how much we appreciate your help with this. We know you have a lot of probably snippets and stories in your pipeline. And when you just forward those on, we're happy to help adapt those and use those as shout outs. And we're not asking anyone to recreate the wheel and start from scratch, but we know you're sharing your good news all over the place. So those times that you're sharing good news, we're trying to pull that through, and it really gets not only the thank yous out for those donors and groups that have made grants possible through the Community Foundation, but it introduces you to a broader group, which is of the broader community, which is our goal as well, which is to really say, look at all of the incredible nonprofits doing work right here in our local community. And there's a big, really, which is great to see, focus on local right now as people recognize that there are a huge number of nonprofits working really hard right here to impact and improve the lives of everyone in our community. Okay, so I'm going to switch over to some highlights for the evaluation, and then we'll circle back and capture any questions that are coming up on anything. So the big question is evaluation. Why do it, right? So I meant to reverse this slide because it really starts with, we have wonderful donors and groups that are supporting our funds to make grants possible. We have a responsibility to report to those people and those groups and those businesses and those partnerships how funds are used so they can see their impact and understand and learn more about the good works that they are helping to do in our community. We can only do that through having you report on how those funds are used. That's why the evaluation is so important. It really helps us identify how the grant funds impacted and helped support the work that you're doing, but it also helps us monitor what's going on in the community and see new issues that may be coming forward, may be rising up to the top, may be actually having wonderful achievements that reverse some of the issues and the struggles that we have faced, particularly in the last several years, as the pandemic has brought to light those issues we've known are here all along, but really helped to raise awareness about the groups that are working on those issues. Our donors are very interested in what you're doing. Our board is very interested in what you're doing. Our committees are very interested in what you're doing, and they're interested in how through a grant they can help their community. We stress that everyone, no matter the size of the gift, is making an impact in our community because they're leveraging their donations with other donations to make grants possible. Your evaluation really helps us tell those stories and explain how together we can make a difference difference every day. Our partners, we have many partners that participate in our grant making process. GSB is just one of several partnerships that we have. They entrust our process to make their charitable impact, and we have a responsibility to help them, or to provide for them an overview of how their partnership is really making a difference. And of course, as I said before, our committees really appreciate participating in the process. They're always interested in your applications, but they're also very interested in the outcomes from those grants that they have been able to recommend. And our board is always keenly aware of the issues that are going on and how our grant support is making a difference in everyone's life. So and once again, as a reminder, the final evaluation report isn't the only way to provide to update us on how things are going, or even obstacles that might have come up that you weren't aware of. These, you can provide updates at any point, email updates, articles, something that's unforeseen, let us know. It's always good for us to know what's happening. And of course, the stories, photos, and videos that either come in with the evaluation or any time in between all go towards keeping us updated on your overall assessment of how things are going and how the grant is making a difference. So at I always get the question, when's the evaluation due, right? Particularly if you're newer to our process. And we always highlight when the next full cycle opens, that evaluations, we have a due date for final evaluations. We recognize sometimes that a small obstacle might have popped up that you weren't prepared for, or maybe something shifted in the program, project, or the grant use that you were using. Those you can send interim updates to us by email. We do have an interim evaluation if something's taking a little longer to complete than you had originally envisioned. But otherwise, the final evaluation is due either when the grant funds are fully expended, or the program or project itself has come to a conclusion. And those that receive general operating and capacity support grants, the due date for those evaluations is usually at the outset of the next process, or at the end of your fiscal year, if your fiscal year occurs at a different time than the general calendar year. And the evaluation form is always available on our website in the underneath the resources. So where to find it? For those that might be new or have grant evaluations from prior grants that are coming due after having submitted an interim, once again, you just hover over the nonprofits in our menus and go to the grant evaluation. Any grants from our competitive process use what's called the general evaluation report. That's our standard evaluation. It's very much like the application, and it's submitted online. You also will need to download the budget to actual summary form. So we've had a couple of instances in the last few years where people are utilizing the budget form they submitted at the time of their application. And this one is very similar to that, but this one also, but this is not just the budget from the original application, but this is the actual funding sources and funding uses, not only of our grant, but the other funding that would major project or program complete at the time of your submission. So please make sure you download that as well, and that gets uploaded as a PDF. The grant evaluation form, when you click this grant evaluation report link, pops up on a web page here. As I said, it's very much like our application form. It can be completed online, and it does have a save and continue option. I'm going to touch on that because we have a little bit, we recognize this as sometimes we get emails that says, oh no, I started my evaluation form, but and I didn't copy the link. Can you get me the link? As I've mentioned in the past, both our evaluation form and our application form utilize a temporary server space that we're not able to see. So if you're working on your evaluation and someone's working with you, or there's been a delay, or you just can't complete it all at once, that's fine. At the bottom of the page, there is an option to save and continue later. When you click this, you get a little pop-up box, and it's going to say, please use the following link to return and complete this form. We highly, 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 highly recommend that you copy this whole link first so that you have it in case there is a delay or an issue in getting the actual email that includes that link. You can copy it, put it in a note, in a Word document, put it on a browser and hang on to it. The links are valid for 30 days. So I need to stress this too. Somebody emailed me recently. They had started their evaluation form, something happened, they got sidetracked, and when they finally got back to it, it was beyond 30 days and the link had expired. There was nothing I could do to help them, and it was hard. I felt really bad because they were almost done. But before you click the send the link button after entering your email address, please make sure that you just copy this and have it for yourself, just in case. The other thing that happens is sometimes people get the link, they enter their email, their phone rings, they turn away, they think they clicked send the link, and they close the browser window. So please make sure that you grab that before you do that. There could be a slight delay that's not from our server. We're just noticing in high internet usage times, sometimes things going through various internet servers get slowed down. Also, if you don't see it pop up for a while, do please check your spam folder. We're finding that a lot of organizations have tightened down their spam filters. So sometimes it comes from our info@middlesexcountycf.org email address. And sometimes it can end up in spam if you can't find it. We also get a question like, how do you do an evaluation for a programmatic application versus, say, a capacity or general operating? So programmatic, we all know those are pretty straightforward, right? You have a program or a project, it's you started it, you did the program, and you ended it, and you have outcomes, you assessed it, maybe you did surveys, you have a story that came out of it, a response, some photos. That's pretty, we're looking for what were the goals achieved? What were the outcomes? Did you have any hurdles? How many people or how many entities or how many groups or how many families, how many communities participated in that? Capacity and general operating support are more for your overall organization, ensuring that you are able to do your full mission. Those tie into specific instances. Maybe you have something that you were able to do because you had some grant funding that helped you serve your overall mission. Make those connections. How did supporting a general operating or capacity building professional development grant help you do what you need to do and serve your community? Refer back to your original applications, please, and make sure that as you are writing your evaluation, you are responding back to the original application that was reviewed. Did you meet your original goals and objectives? And how did you do that? How many did you estimated what your impact, the number of people you might impact, or animals, if it's an animal grant. Were you able to do that? Did you have more? Did you have less? There are no horrible like black marks or anything that get written on an evaluation if you didn't serve as many as you thought. Sometimes it's just people were busy and they weren't able to make a program. But it's interesting to find out how it actually came about and how many you were able to serve. And please quantify, did you accomplish what you hoped for? If not, did you accomplish something you hadn't envisioned? Was there a different outcome that never occurred to you? That happens. And we know that happens. And we're very interested in that because sometimes that can highlight new issues coming through the community that we may not be aware of. And it helps us look forward and find the partnerships and the collaborations that are working on issues that affect one or all of our 15 towns. You are more than welcome, as we say, reach out to both Mary and myself if you have questions, issues, problems with the evaluation forms, If you have great stories, if you're trying to get us photos and there's the server won't let you upload all of them because you have lots of photos and you can't wait to share them all. There are lots of ways to get in touch with us, and it's all included in the slide of the slide deck that you will receive after this. So I'm going to stop sharing and we'll look at we'll see what questions may have come up throughout. And if you have questions, I'm going to I'm going to unpin, because then I can see the gallery view better. Let me get that. So you can type if you have questions, type them in the chat box. We have a few, so we're going to grab Mary. I'm going to have you scroll back and look for those for just a minute, or you can use the raise hand thing, and we'll see. We'll go back through and take any questions that people may have had. So what do we have, Mary?
The first one, do you let grantees know when you use their photos and stories on the website and in public media?
So we try, and that's a really great question. And that's one of the things that Mary and I have been brainstorming, because if they're on social media, we definitely tag your organization. And this is one of the things, we have so many organizations. There are, I think at last count, I have to look back, there are over the years, 400 plus more, not 800, including statewide. We're reaching the 800 level nonprofits that service our footprint. We're trying to make sure that we're following you on social media. And so we do try to tag you whenever possible. If you have a page out there, if it goes out on social media, and Mary and I are working together to try to find those that we've missed. And then we'll also, especially if it goes out on the website or is in an e-news, we'll try to make sure that we get that to you so you can help share that out. And that reminds me, Mary and I are working on a new project. If you don't get our e-news and our nonprofit emails, Mary's working on, Mary, you're working on that, right?
Oh, yep. Our constant contact. If anyone is not already signed up, it's definitely a great resource of how we announce these, like our upcoming information sessions for the grant processes, and also our e-news and notes where, in addition to social media, we like to share the stories that our grantees are sharing with us. So it's definitely a great way to see how else we're spreading the good news.
And I do see, Lynn, that you sent us a link to a YouTube video. Thank you very much. We will take care of that later today. I appreciate that. Mary, what other questions do we have?
The next one is when it comes to sharing stories and quotes, if the project is delayed substantially, is the preference for timely so board and donors can see the immediate gratitude, or complete so they can see the impact?
That's a great question. And that also ties in with letting us know if you are facing substantial delays, particularly if it's a project that requires materials right now. We know that due to the pandemic and some other issues, there are still significant material delays going on. So there's a twofold thing. Obviously, the sort of original thank you, whether it's a thank you letter, thank you card, or recognition just of receiving your grant award, those are very helpful at the outset. We do share those with everyone as we get them. But as far as the evaluation or updates with substantial delays or articles or stories, we recognize that happens, and you need to work on that as it fits your schedule, right? So if you're facing a substantial delay, and so there really isn't a story to tell yet, maybe an article or a quote to give of the outcome or the in-process piece, we recognize that really needs to come at your timeline and what works for you, because you're trying to manage lots of things. We're not trying to create lots and lots of extra work. It's just whatever you have ready to go helps us keep that information flow going forward and create those updates. So if it's as far as what's timely for our board and donors, that's as much to what's able on your timeline, because we know that sometimes things happen that are beyond everyone's control. And we don't want you feeling that you have to report something, even it's like, it's still in the hopper here. Just because you feel like maybe we're wondering what's going on. But if you are facing some substantial delays, just let us know, just so it's on our radar. Other questions? For those of you that have been through this before, what have I forgotten? You all are my go-to people. Claire, I'm not putting you on the spot, so don't worry about it. But you and Tracy and Lucy, you all, Lori, Allison, you've all been through this before. And there's some newer nonprofits that haven't gotten grants through this process before. So what am I forgetting?
I can't think of anything you're forgetting, Thayer. I think that Community Foundation of Middlesex County is one of the most thoughtful of our grantors that really thinks through all of these issues of how we can be in communication better. So thank you for really being so consistently in touch with us. We appreciate that.
No, thank you. That means a lot. That means a lot. We do try.
I'm going to add too that, it's not a scary process. The more communication, the better. Everyone is wonderful to work with at CFMC and accommodating, and things come up and things happen. So, that's really what it is. Don't be afraid to pick up the phone, because they always pick up the phone, and no question is a stupid question, and they're there to help. So,
yeah, I would second all of that. Yeah, Thayer is always available. I've called her more than once to say, hey, what do you think? Getting back to even, the application process, as well as the reporting out process. I always do that in a separate document, so then I can just copy and paste it. But if I don't have everything and I'm starting to put it in, like Thayer said, copy that address, that URL, and put it into your work, at the top or at the bottom in the headers and footers, so that you have it, because we're all busy and you get 100 emails a day. It's easy to have difficulty finding then that email that comes in with that link. So that's my one tip of the day, to follow up on what Thayer said.
Thank you. That's a great idea, Lori. I hadn't thought about that, and let me stress that, because for some of you, you may be like, I'm not sure what Lori's talking about. So a lot of times people will start to draft their responses, just like you did to your application. You draft them in Word or some other word processing document, right? That whatever your organization uses. You can copy that link and just put it at the top of it, so it's there. You don't have to go hunting in an email and find it. If you're like me, I delete something out, and boy, I didn't mean to delete that out. That was not good. Or, as many of you probably saw on social media, sometimes email companies don't always do what we need them to do, and you may have some crazy email issues. So then that's a really good idea, Lori. Thank you. We're going to hang on to that one. And I'm going to talk. I just realized I didn't stress something on photos. I get this question. There are some on here that I know serve very high at-risk populations, right? And people aren't comfortable having their photos. So if you're using stock photo, great. Like I said, we just need to make sure that you got the license to use that. But there was one photo that we recently got, which we thought was great. So we also recognize that photos of children, people are very cognizant of photos of children, particularly in social media right now. And we are too. And there is some good stock photo. But there was a photo recently that a grantee from last year did for a bookmobile, and it was fabulous. They sent us a lot of photos, but they did two things in the photos which were a lot of fun. The first one was they had all the kids turn their back to the camera and hold the books over their heads. So you didn't see any child's face. You just saw all these backs, and they were holding the book over their head, which was such a great idea. There was no risk of a child who couldn't, particularly a child that maybe can't participate. The other one that they did is they had them line up and hold the book in front of their faces. So all the faces were hidden, and it was just all these kids lined up. that's an example with books and children, but sometimes we recognize there are ways that you are working to get your own photos that circumvent the concern about putting someone's face out that maybe they're not comfortable. So, keep that in mind. We're very cognizant of that, and we want to work with you to highlight what you're doing, and without embarrassing or causing someone some discomfort, or who may have other security issues or safety issues that they're very concerned about their face being used in public.
If I could just add to that real quick there, at Shoreline Soup Kitchens, since the pandemic started, our pantries in Middlesex are drive-through because the numbers just exploded so much. And for safety concerns during the height of the pandemic, even though the safety concerns are different now, the number of people is still so great that we can't go back inside. There's just not enough space for all the people that need food, but we never show the cars. So privacy also extends to people's vehicles, not just their license plates, but their vehicles, and even the perception of showing a vehicle. Like if it was a staff person's vehicle, we still wouldn't show it just because we want our guests to know. We would never show a vehicle, or even the perception of showing a vehicle. So just throwing that out there.
No, that's a good, I hadn't thought about that. And that's a very good point as well. So well, as much as and if you haven't had a chance to see it, particularly if you're newer to us and you wonder why we say photos, we want your photos over and over and over again. Not only because we use them everywhere in all of our reports and our community report and on our website, but if you haven't had an opportunity to see the wonderful 25 years of impact video that was created for our 25th anniversary last year, Mary, don't let me forget, we'll include that when we send you everything else. We invite you to watch that. We worked with Option A. They were wonderful. They put all of this together. We had a great committee, and when they came in to begin selecting the photos from 25 years of photo libraries that we had, our committee members would tell you that we had cheat sheets lined up down our conference room, 5 deep, Mary, 4 deep, how rows of photos
easily
that they were going through and like initialing all these different things to try to capture as much. We were so lucky to have all of those photos to select from, because over the years, you all have been wonderful in sharing your photos, and we keep using those. So it's not a one-shot thing. Now it's 25 years worth of grant making through the Community Foundation, and we had photos going back to some of our earliest grants. So we really do appreciate when you help us tell those stories visually, because we know people love visual stories. Any last questions? Comments? Concerns? All right. Thank you all for joining us this morning. We really appreciate it. It's been great seeing you all. Mary and I will be in touch with we'll get the recording prepped in the next couple of days and get you the slide deck. And if you have any questions, Mary, I have to say, a couple of you paid wonderful long-term compliments to me, but I have to tell you, Mary is phenomenal. You think I'm responsive. Boy, Mary is like on top of it. She's just right there. So, and she's done a great job, and she really has wrapped her arms around all of these processes, and she's a great go-to resource. And I strongly encourage you to get to know Mary, and feel free to reach out to either one of us. Both of us were right here for you. And of course, Cynthia also loves to hear from you. So I'm not going to leave her off the list either. So
I love those stories. I love to brag, and I see all the thank yous coming from you, but we have to say a big shout out to all of you. Thank you for what you do and making our community such a great place to live, work, and play. Thanks. We're honored to be associated with you.